Okay, so today I wanted to make a little bit more dividers for some 10-gallon tanks so that I can house some betta fish. Now in this specific divider, it's going to end up looking like this. So this is what I made last night, and I decided to make a quick little video on how to do it. I first did some research and found out that this kind of plastic corrugated sheets will be fine in aquariums. So I picked me up a board. It's like $4.50 at Michael's, and I got myself a measuring tape, a pencil, an X-Acto knife, scissors, tape, a drill bit, and of course a drill. And don't judge my drill, it's been through a lot. So we've got all this together, and what we're going to do is we are going to make these dividers. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take your 10-gallon aquarium and you're going to measure it out. Alright, so this is your top right here, and this is one of the smaller sides. You're going to take your measuring tape, and you're going to measure from the inside of this glass pane to the inside of that glass pane. Due to the fact you want the divider to sit flush in here. So mine is about 5 notches less than 10. And so I'll take this over to the 5 notches less. Mark that on the board and then move up and do the same thing. Now I will take my measuring tape and measure the inside of it, which mine comes up to 3 notches less than 11.5. And start at the very bottom, measure all the way up the side, right at 3 notches less than 11.5. I'm going to do that again over here, more towards the line of these. I take a straight edge or a ruler and come over here and I line up these lines right there, and I draw out, and then I do the same for these. Now, with this type of board, cutting this way is going to be a lot easier than cutting this way, just due to the way the board's made. So what I'm going to do is use both the X-Acto knife and the scissors. You'll see what I'm talking about. Inside the aquarium really fast. Now what you're going to find is that these edges right here are going to be really, really tight. So basically what I do is I just cut a little slit, take the board out, and just cut the little notches out. And then it should fit perfectly. The goal is to have a perfect fit. And when I say perfect, I mean very nice and snug, where you can't just hit it out. Just like that. So it's all the way to the corner here, all the way to the corner here. Alright? So now that you've got all that fitted, what you're going to do is you're going to take this one and you're going to trace it out on the poster board just like this, and you're going to cut 2 identical ones. Nice and snug in the aquarium. Now this divider looks to be like a tad too big, so what I'm gonna have to do is just trim down the side a little bit. which is no big deal, but you don't want to put too much pressure on this glass. You just want it to be perfectly snug. You need to test all of them to make sure they all fit, and tape them all three together. Piece of tape here, piece of tape here, and 2 pieces of tape up there. Put it in your drill. You're just gonna simply drill holes in it. I like to have mine in like a square pattern, but just remember the more holes the better, but your beta may be able to see. Your fins to be ripped by this. Once you're done sanding them down, you just want to take the tape off and get them ready to go into the aquarium. We're going to go ahead and set up this aquarium for the most part. Not clean. But the inside is clean. This is just the outside, which I will be cleaning later. But I did want to go ahead and put the dividers in, and I'm just going to put it on top here. Now, I know that this is 20 inches long, so what I'm going to do, up here, and I'm going to mark with my pencil 10 inches, 5 inches, and 15 inches. And this is just a surefire way to give them even amount of space and to make sure that thing's straight, because you're also going to come down here and do the same thing. 10 inches, 5 inches, 15 inches. And also the reason I'm doing it with the pencil is because I can just scrub it right off with my thumb. Alright, so you've got your dividers in, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these with sand, and that's just going to add more stability to these little dividers. Although they're pretty secure due to how snug they fit, the sand will also help just keep them in place. Alright, so here's the sand we're going to use in the aquarium. So let's go do that, and let's go ahead and get it in the aquarium. So I'm going to put be careful not to unalign your aligners, or your dividers, I'm sorry. So once I have all my sand in the aquarium, what I want to do is I want to add a filter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to the side that's closest to the air pump, which on this one will be this one. And that way I do, and let's go ahead and get it installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the filter right here on this side. I went ahead and I got a suction cup and my filter, and I'm going to wet the suction cup here. Put the suction cup right above it. And filled with water. Here is one of the completed tanks that is divided. I did end up putting a filter because I know that betas don't like too much flow, but here we are. I'm still decorating this one, and I'm still working on this one too. But these two right here, all they need to do now is grow in, and